Okay, we're back at the 66 Honda Cub. I got my cylinder back from the machine shop and they did a wonderful job of boring it. They fit it to this piston that I got and rings that I got. There was a couple of options for pistons. There was aftermarket stuff and there was genuine Honda stuff, and the genuine Honda stuff was a little more. Not a lot more, but it was a little bit more. And I'm going to go with the genuine Honda stuff whenever I can. I did get a gasket kit. This is an aftermarket one. It is made in Japan though. Beck Arnley. It's not a Honda kit. I couldn't find a Honda gasket kit. So, you know, you're doing the best you can with something this old. It's hard to find parts, but they are out there. I've taken the foot pegs off and this plastic piece and laid down a towel and a piece of paper towel, and I want to catch all this junk and clean this all up before I put this back together. Of course, make sure the mating surfaces are correct. You all know how this goes together. It's probably old hat for a lot of you. There's marks on the piston that have an arrow on it, and they go up. And if you look at the cylinder head and the piston, here's the old piston that I beat the snot out of getting out of there, and you can see it has a small eyebrow and a large eyebrow. Well, I know the large eyebrow always goes it would go like that. It would go like that because the large eyebrow always goes down. The large valve is your exhaust valve. Large valve is always your exhaust valve. The smaller valve is always the intake, and since the carburetor is on top, it all goes in there that way. You have to make sure you get things in the right position. Rings are the same way. There's a chrome ring in here, one that has a chrome little, you'll see it. It's just not cast iron. It's got a little chrome plating around it. That's the top ring. The one that doesn't have the chrome around it, that's the second ring. The oil ring is pretty self-explanatory. It'll only go in that slot. While you're assembling this, if there's any marks on those rings, the marks always go up. So, chrome ring, plain ring, oil ring with the marks up. Then you have your large cutout right there is your exhaust. So, when you put your rings on your piston, because you're your horizontal engine, you're not opposed. It's not two cylinders. If I was looking down the barrel like this, my oil ring, I'd have it straight up and down. The next ring I'd have here. The next ring I'd have here. I would have no rings on the bottom. Well, probably like that and like that. But I would have no rings on the bottom. Gaps, that is. Ring gap on the bottom. My gap for my oil ring would be straight up. My gap for my second ring would be over here. My gap for my first ring would be over there. That way no oil can leak past. New gaskets, they don't, if you've got the mating surfaces cleaned up really well, you don't need sealant. You have to adhere to the torque specs that are on this. They're available online to torque the cylinder head down. Sometimes these engines, the rods get wore out, the hole gets wore out, but you can see that. I don't think this one is though. So, okay, well, I'm going to clean this all up and assemble it, and it's pretty self-explanatory how you took it apart. It goes back together the same way.